بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. At the end of Surah Al-Kahf, we read the verses of Dhul Qarnayn and the dam of Dhul Qarnayn. So since I talked about the Dajjal last night, I thought we would talk about this because this is one of the signs, the major signs of Yawm al-Qiyamah. And Dhul Qarnayn is believed to have been a very pious king who ruled with justice, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him all of these skills and technologies and assets. And he goes to this place, they complain about a group, Ya'juj and Ma'juj, and he builds this dam. Right? That's the story in the Quran. And we know from other places in the Quran that the breaking of the dam and the emergence of Ya'juj and Ma'juj is one of the major signs of Yawm al-Qiyamah. So let's talk about the dam, and then we'll talk about what this means in the kind of the greater sense. So in the Abbasid Caliphate, there was an Abbasid Khalifa who was very concerned about finding out where this dam was. And Al-Idrisi was a great Muslim historian. He has a book of history and geography, and he documents this story that the Abbasid Khalifa put together a delegation of scientists and scholars, about a couple hundred of these people. I think I've mentioned this story to you before, and they went out to find out where this dam was. And he narrates the story. And then fast forward to the late 19th century, there was a great Indian Muslim statesman, Kalam Allah Abad, who also wrote about the exact location of where this dam is. And it is believed amongst the people that look into these things that the dam is in what we call today Armenia. And the book by Kalam Allah Abad, this has been translated I think in multiple languages, and it's accessible and you can find it, you can see pictures online and things like that. Now, where there's a common misconception is that because of, Muslims are Muslims and we like to talk about, we get overwhelmed sometimes. There's a common misconception that this dam is somehow blocking these people called Ya'juj and Ma'juj. Okay, that's where we leave, science and knowledge and we go into sort of fantasy discussion. That's not what the dam is. The breaking of the dam is simply a sign that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has associated with the emergence of this people, and one of the signs of the end of time. Like if I said, if somebody walks in who's wearing a red shirt, then I'll begin the class. It doesn't mean that there's something special about the person wearing the red shirt, it's simply a sign. So this is all ijtihad, the things that I told you about the Abbasid Khalifa and Kalam Allah Abad, this is all ijtihad. Maybe this is where the dam is, maybe not, it's not an exact science. But the point is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that when the dam breaks and this group of people come, this is simply a sign. Why am I speaking this way? Because one of the major problems in all religions, including our religion, is messianism, is this obsession with the end of times, is the obsession with a messianic figure. All religions have this problem. In our religion, if I were to mention to you one of the other great signs of the final hour, Al-Mahdi, probably 40-50% of you would say, yeah, Al-Mahdi al-Muntadhar, the awaited Mahdi. This is not the phrase of the ulama. This is something that comes, Al-Mahdi, yeah, that comes from the hadith. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. It's rigorously established. We're not waiting for the Mahdi. This is a term that emerges largely from the Shia community and adopted by many of the Sunni communities. And this is, I usually try to be ecumenical, but this is one of those times where I'll be very straightforward. This is problematic. We are not waiting for the world to end. We're not waiting for some special figure, but rather we acknowledge that this is part of our belief. When Gabriel came to teach the Prophet ﷺ, he asked him about Islam, he asked him about Iman, he asked him about Ihsan, he asked him about the signs of the end of time. And then the Prophet ﷺ turned to the companions and he said, Atadru man as-sa'il? Do you know who the questioner was? He said, هذا جبريل جاء يعلمكم دينكم أو هذا جبريل جاء يعلمكم أمر دينكم. This is Gabriel, he came to teach you your religion. So our eschatological beliefs, how the world ends and life beyond death, etc., this is part of any religious belief. Yeah, we have these beliefs. The issue is we're not waiting for it, and more importantly, we're not trying to bring about the end of time. There are some religious groups, who shall name nameless, that are obsessed with bringing about the end of time. We don't want death and destruction. We don't want any of that. But we acknowledge that this is a creation. And if it's a creation, there's a beginning and there's an end. But rather, the Prophet ﷺ taught us how to deal with this. And he said, if in one of your hands is a fasila, a small like tree sapling, and you see that the hour is going to come, the angel is about to blow the trumpet, meaning it's it. There's no more do-over. This is it. It's not a sign. This is the end. What do? You plant it. You plant it. You don't sit there and tweet about it and go crazy the dam is Gog and Magog, let's go destroy the dam. No, that's not our way at all. It's just a sign. But rather we are going to build and we are going to do good till the last breath that we have. This is the teaching. And this is how you get out of this messianism that has plagued many religions. Many religions have come undone throughout human history simply because of this obsession. And this is how cults are formed. You know, the death cults, when they go somewhere and if we die and then the rapture and they all commit suicide. This is where it comes from. It comes from this overwhelming obsession with the end of things. But these are signs. Gabriel said, Meta sa'a, when is the hour? The Prophet ﷺ said that you and I don't know. So Gabriel said, فَأَخْبِرْنِي عَنْ أَمَارَاتِهَا. Then tell me about its signs. So these are simply signs. When you see this kind of stuff, it's getting to the end. When you see this kind of indiscriminate killing, the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Haraj. And the companion said, وَمَا الْهَرَجْ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. What is Al-Haraj? He said, Al-Qatl. Indiscriminate killing. The one killing doesn't know why they killed, and the one that was killed doesn't know why they were killed. This is the type of fitna, the type of tribulation that we live in. So we know that this is a sign. But this doesn't mean that we give in to that and we give up hope. No, we are the people that have the fasila. Any good that we can do, we are going to plant it. Even if we don't see the results, because we are always going to be a forward people. We are always going to be a positive people. Now, how on earth can you do that? If you see the angel blowing the trumpet, and how on earth are you going to be able to plant this thing, metaphorically or actually, if you actually have a seed or a plant or a sapling, how are you going to be able to do that and not be overwhelmed? It's through establishing your habits on a day-to-day basis. And that's the practice of our faith, is about instilling these habits. We pray we start with the 5 daily prayers. And then we build on the 5 daily prayers, the morning invocations, the adhkar of the sabah, and the evening invocations. And then we build on that the sunnah prayers, before the prayers and after the prayers. And then we build on that reading some of the Quran daily. And then we build on that, extra fast. Then we have the fast of Ramadan, etc., etc. When you do these things all the time, day in and day out, it becomes a part of you. So whether there's bad news or good news, you know that you have to pray Asr now. Whether there's good news or bad news, you know that tomorrow you have to fast, so you have to have your suhoor. Whether there's bad news or good news, you know that you're going to come and pray Taraweeh. Whether there's good news or bad news, you know that tomorrow is Eid and you're going to go and you're going to celebrate the Eid. So this teaches us to push through the events around us and to establish a rhythm that is built around our acts of worship. And this is also one of the secrets of our calendar, because our calendar is a purely lunar calendar, as you know, which means that the events that we have in our liturgical life, like Ramadan and the Hajj and so on and so forth, they don't follow a pattern like, oh, Ramadan is a summer thing or a winter thing. No, Ramadan is the 9th lunar month. Now it's getting to be in the winter and a little bit in the spring, and then it will quickly be winter, fall, summer, so on and so forth. This also teaches us to strip the acts of worship from the events that are around us. That when it's فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُمْ. When you see the new moon for the 9th month, then you fast. Al-Hajj ashhurun ma'lumat. When we get to, actually the Hajj begins when you break your fast on the last day of Ramadan, which enters into the 1st of Shawwal. So you can have the intention to make Hajj from the 1st of Shawwal all the way till the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, which would mean that you would have to stay in ihram for a long time, so don't do that, but just showing you that this is the time of Hajj, so on and so forth. So when you reflect on this hadith about the sapling or the fasila, to remind you not to be overwhelmed, the only way you're not going to be overwhelmed, you can keep saying this hadith, but really what we need to do is recommit ourselves to our daily practices as Muslims. And you must, I can't stress this enough, you must avoid any messianic tendencies that you have, or that the community has, or that people that you follow online have. This is very, very dangerous and destructive. It only leads to bad things. And we've had many, many people that claimed they were the Mahdi throughout Islamic history. Many, and it all ended pretty bad. Many, many people. And there were people that claimed they were prophets, like Musaylima al-Kadhab. And Musaylima al-Kadhab, subhanAllah, he was given miracles, but like in the opposite, like his miracles backfired. He'd like spit in the water, and instead of the water turning fresh, it would turn salt. He had like, subhanAllah, he tried to make up, verses like the Quran. He died a pretty bad death. And you guys know, I always tell you this fact, who killed Musaylima? Wahshi. The same person who killed Hamza, alayhi salam, the uncle of the Prophet sallam. After he became Muslim, he killed Musaylima with the same spear. He said, with this spear I killed the best of creation, and with this spear I killed the worst of creation. So we have, unfortunately, in Islam, we have a history of this. We have a history of messianic tendencies. You have it amongst the extreme of the Shias, you have it amongst the extremes of the Sufis as well. So this is a problem that we have, and it's very, very important, and my teachers were always very clear when we come to talk about these things, to teach us that these are signs. You can't make the sign happen. If I told you when the person with the red shirt comes, I'll begin the class, it doesn't mean that you put on a red shirt and then you walk through that doesn't work like that. When it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's signs, that's not what He's telling us to do. He's just saying, beware that these things will happen, but be prepared by being ready to plant your fasila. So even if we're the last people left that are going to stand for good and stand for life and stand for building, then so be it. Then we'll be the last people standing, but we must be committed to this positive aspect, positive disposition, no matter what we do. Okay, really quick about fiqh. I thought we could talk a little bit about what happens when you come to prayer late, because that happens when you come to any prayer, that is, prayer late. So obviously you want to get information, so you want to pray at the line that you have the access to, which for the men will probably be at the end, and for the sisters it will be in the front, because the way we're supposed to stack the lines is that the men start from the front and then go back, and then the women start from the back and they go front. So that's how we use that. The sort of the sunnah is to fill the space that way, so that way we can accommodate both sides. Anyway, so you come to the prayer late. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to say Allahu Akbar to enter into the prayer. That's your takbirat al-ihram, it's called. It's the takbir that enters you into the prayer. And then you're going to join the imam wherever the imam is. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-imamu liyutamma bihi. The imam is there, so you follow the imam. Now, if you happen to come into the prayer after the imam has done his ruku'ah, you still have joined the congregational prayer, so you get the reward of the congregational prayer, but you have missed that rak'ah. You've missed that unit, because the entering after the ruku'ah means that you have to re-pray that rak'ah. If you enter into the prayer when the imam is in ruku'ah or before ruku'ah, you get the reward for the congregational prayer, and you have also made that rak'ah count for you. Okay, so that's rule number 2. And then the third thing, I guess we would say, is if you finish when the imam says Assalamu alaikum, you're going to stand and you're going to pray whatever rak'ahs you did not pray. So if you come into Aisha prayer and you join the Aisha prayer in the third rak'ah, thank God, that sound is very loud. That means you prayed 3 and 4, so that means you need to pray 2 more, so you're going to stand and pray 1 and 2 and then do salam. Okay, I hope that's clear. Now last thing I'll say is, if you come to the Taraweeh late, what are you going to do? So you know that we're in the Taraweeh, not in Aisha prayer. Like you came, like an hour late or something like that. So the easiest thing to do is to join the group prayer with the intention to pray Isha, even though Anas is leading us in Taraweeh. I know there's a difference of opinion, but I'm giving you, like, since I'm the one speaking, I get to give you the way to do it. But I know there's a difference of opinion, but this is the easiest thing to do. So he's leading us in Taraweeh prayer. You haven't prayed Isha yet, so you come and you join with the intention of praying Isha, even though he's praying Taraweeh. So he's going to pray 2, you're going to finish the 2, but you're going to stand and then pray 2 more to finish your Isha, and then you join us again for the Taraweeh. So I hope that that's kind of easy. Look, when we deal with these fiqh issues, I know there are different opinions, and I know that everyone here comes from different backgrounds. My job is to find the easiest, most compatible opinion, even if it's not my school of thought, the easiest way, the most comprehensive way for us to have a Islam that keeps going. So for those of you who know a little bit about fiqh, sometimes you know that I give weird opinions or weak opinions, but that's why I do it. I do it because my job is not to give you the most stringent opinion, or my job is not to give you my opinion, but my job is to find what is in the best benefit of this community, the people that we have in front of us. So there is theoretical fiqh, that's what we spend all of our years studying, and then there's applied fiqh, the fatwa, how you actually apply it in the here and now, and there's a way that that's done that we can talk about at another time. والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى اللهم على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.